Hi, friends. Sorry about the cat. He just woke up from a nap and he's apparently very talkative. Um, okay. This is gonna be unedited. This is gonna be, it's probably horrible lighting, probably not the best setting, but um, I have had this on my mind like all day, and I thought about going live with it, but I was a little, it's a topic I don't necessarily enjoy talking about. So then I thought I'd write a post about it, but as I started writing, it got a little too long. So I decided maybe a recorded video would work. And I literally just walked in the door from running around doing errands. So I needed to just get this done as soon as possible so I could get it off my chest, get it off my mind, and not have to worry about it. Okay, so a couple things. Apparently today's, what is it? World Mental Health Day, I think is what I saw somewhere. Kind of funny. I talked earlier about, like the other day, about synchronicities happening. Okay, well, here's a prime example. So this morning I was reading a book, and I read this part in this book that was about vulnerable, blah, blah, being vulnerable. Let's just say it that way. Body image. Dude, shh. Okay. Vulnerability. I said it. Body image and intimacy. By the way, I did say I started writing this out earlier. So if you see me looking over, it's because I'm reading, because I don't want to go too far off track. If you know me well enough, I tend to start talking and I go on these random tangents and then I can't figure out where I was. So it's written. I'm going to be reading. If I sound rehearsed, that's why. But yeah, so anyway, read something today about vulnerability, body image, and intimacy that really struck a chord in my heart and brought me to tears. And like I said, it's World Mental Health Day today. So it was just kind of funny how these things aligned. But the topic that was discussed today in the book is something that I've struggled with my whole life. So here's the quote. Here's the quote from the book. And I don't know if this will touch anyone else's heart, but this is real stuff. Okay. The young woman who started the conversation said, "It's not easy to have sex and keep your stomach sucked in. How can we get into it when we're worried about our back fat?" The young man who shared his story of his divorce slammed his hand down on his desk and shouted, "It's not about the back fat. You're worried about it, we're not. We don't give a shit." The class fell completely quiet. He took a couple deep breaths and said, Stop making up all of this stuff about what we're thinking. What we're really thinking is, do you love me? Do you care about me? Do you want me? Am I important to you? Am I good enough? That's what we're thinking. When it comes to sex, it feels like our life is on the line and you're worried about that crap. The young woman who had brought up the body image issue said, "I don't understand. My last boyfriend was always criticizing my body." The young man replied, "That's because he's an asshole. It's not because he's a guy. Some of us are just guys. Give us a break, please." Okay, let me give you a little backstory. It's not easy for me to talk about. I actually am like, you can't tell, I'm super sweaty, got the nervous sweats going, I'm shaky, I'm like trying to hold back tears, but I'm gonna try to get through this. So here goes nothing. I've never seen myself as beautiful. I know some of you are like, what? Why? I struggle with it daily. I've also never felt like I'm enough. I struggle with that daily too. I struggled with the way I've seen myself since I was 13, 14 years old. Why? Because at the time, I was dating a guy who planted those seeds in my head with things that he said. I was never self-conscious about anything with myself before, but one day he asked me what my pants size was. Weird question, but he did. See, I even lost my spot. Okay, I found it. I told him that I'm a size 1. He kind of laughed and said, "That's it? I know girls who are size 3 or bigger and they have really nice curves." Okay. Didn't really think much of it. It was kind of one of those weird things that just was like, made me think a little bit, I guess, but you know, I moved on. Then there was a time when he commented on how small my boobs were, or still are, I guess. They're not that big, but I'm okay with it now. And at that point, he pointed out, like actually pointed out how big they should be. Okay? When you're that young, I'm going off script here. I'll probably go off script a little bit. When you're that young and things like that are said to you, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what gender you are. You're at a point in life where you're starting to figure life out. Like you're starting to figure out who the heck you are, what life is supposed to be like. Like you're in this stage where you're maturing physically, psychologically, emotionally. And so even though some of those things may seem like, well, that's dumb, like why would you ever, when you're that young, and when it's coming from someone who you consider to be your whole world, someone that you trust, someone that you love, someone that it was just someone that you're with, like when it comes from someone like that, it's kind of like, in your head, you're like, or at least in my head, I guess I'll talk from my perspective because I can't talk for everyone, but this was me, this is me, however you want to put it. It was like, well, okay, who else am I supposed to believe? Who else am I supposed to, like the one person in my life that I love with all my heart is telling me this. So that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. So back to the script, back to what I was saying. I don't want to make this too long. I was young, dumb, and naive, so I believed and trusted everything he said. Like I said, he was my world. At the time, it didn't hurt. Like I wasn't offended by it, probably because I didn't really understand or know. It just made me feel a little embarrassed and ashamed, and it made me wonder what every other girl was doing that I wasn't. So it made me wonder if there were foods people were eating, or if like I didn't even consider genetics, although my family, or at least one side of my family, seems to be, I don't know. I didn't consider genetics. I didn't consider, all I considered was like, okay, what are they eating? What are they doing every day? So I quickly started paying attention to how other girls looked and learned very quickly how to compare myself to that. I'm not proud to admit this, but for years, I became obsessed with finding ways to enhance my chest. I looked into pills, ointments, creams. I even looked into like, I don't know, a combination of oils and like homeopathic things that I thought would maybe help. This is good. He's making me laugh and distracting me from crying. So anyway, I looked into everything. The only thing I didn't ever consider was going under the knife because I'm too afraid of needles. I'm too afraid of like surgery stuff. So even to this day, there's a reason why there is no tattoo on my body. Like I can't handle that. So that was just never going to happen. So I was trying to find everything else you could possibly think of. There was even a point where I started stuffing my bra. Now that only lasted, I did it with socks. I did it with tissues. I remember talking to a friend about like how to do it right. And she gave me her ways. So at least I wasn't alone in this whole stuffing the bra thing. I don't know how many girls will ever admit to that, but yeah, I did at one point. It lasted 3 days maybe. Didn't really like it. And socks make your boobs look lumpy. So it didn't stick, thank God. But either way, hold on. Okay. Either way, nobody knew, but at least the obsession with wanting to be bigger lasted for years. And I would spend hours on end researching on the internet because I was not satisfied with myself. Okay, so yeah, like I said, it lasted for years, and every day I just became more ashamed, embarrassed, and disgusted with what my body looked like. The negative self-talk carried all throughout high school and into my adult life, and basically lasted up until about a year ago. It was never ending. It's gotten a lot better, but it's something that I still struggle with regularly. I don't do as much comparing, and I've learned to appreciate what I have going for me a little bit more. So it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, but yeah, it's just kind of crazy to think. So that's where my writing ended. It's just kind of crazy to think how like two little statements could snowball into something that could affect someone so much. Damn it, I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. Okay, so someone do something to make me laugh. See, if this was a live video, you guys could distract me. But anyway, yeah, so it's just kind of crazy to think that it snowballed into this like crazy thing that I struggled with for 27, for 26, for some years, right? Like, okay, maybe not long because it wasn't from birth, but whatever, 10, 11, 12 years, whatever the math is on that, someone can do that for me. But, yeah, you know, it was a couple years ago that I decided that something needed to change because I realized how bad I was getting. And the only way I could think to start was by working on the physical, right? Like, okay, I've accepted I have small boobs, whatever. I accepted that I don't have the biggest hips in the world. So what can I do? I can make sure I stay fit, right? Because if I start getting fat, that's just gonna make everything in my head worse. So I jumped right in to working out. Like that was my go-to. It was always my go-to because growing up, if you know me well enough, I played soccer. Growing up, I played soccer. Growing up, I was super active all the time. And all I know is that even if like the game sucked, or even if I had the worst practice ever and I just wasn't on my A game, whatever, like even if the physical activity I was doing was horrible, which it was like during it, I felt so good afterwards. Like for all of you who run, runner's high is a real thing. That's a real thing because of all the endorphins and like your adrenaline's going, whatever, like you just get high on life and you're like, whoa, what's going on? But physical activity, exercising, always made me feel good afterwards. It didn't matter what happened before. It's just afterwards it was like, all right, I feel amazing. So that was my go-to for where do I start to fix this? It was my drug of choice. I wasn't a big drinker, never have been. And for anyone who's ever gone out with me, you know that I'm still not. I don't like alcohol enough to do that. So I wasn't going to turn to, turn to alcohol. Wasn't going to turn to drugs because I've never been curious about like drugs and things that I've heard. I was scared of drugs, okay, and I guess that's a good thing. And like I said, I was scared of needles, so I wasn't gonna do anything like that. So wasn't gonna turn to real drugs. So the only thing was fitness. So I started with that. It took me a couple of years of trying to figure out what would work and what I would stick with. But I realized that I still wasn't progressing the way I wanted to mentally. So then I tried to think of, okay, well, what else can I do? Well, I know that if I eat healthy, I feel good about life, about things. I don't feel guilty, because when you're eating bad food all the time, not only do you feel guilty about it, but you're also physically, you just don't feel good, because if it's bad food, your body is trying to process it, and it doesn't work. You get tired, you get lazy, you get whatever, like, okay. So I figured, okay, I might as well start eating healthy. So I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I know it sounds silly. You think, oh, to start eating healthy, you just start eating more fruits and veggies. Correct, but you can also eat too much of a good thing, and you won't see results. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. But so I started doing that. It took me a couple years, like I said, a couple years with that. I still wasn't seeing results. Still was struggling with my mental, okay? I was still disgusted with myself in the mirror, like I said, up until probably last year. So you guys might wonder why I'm like so obsessed, well, not obsessed, passionate about these groups that I run every month. It's because these accountability groups, well, the one that I joined, implemented this. Okay, so yes, there's health and fitness. Like, we work out, we eat healthy, but we also work on our mental, because if you don't work on yourself that way, especially if you're someone who struggles with mental issues, body image issues, like your self-confidence is down, like if you don't work on yourself mentally, nothing is going to change. Like, nothing will get better. And so, okay, this is like taking a lot longer than I wanted it to, so good thing it's a recorded video. But yeah, so that's why last year I jumped like head first into this. I thought maybe this is the change I needed, and it snowballed into this amazing journey. Where now every day, most days, I actually like what I see in the mirror, which is so different from what I've ever experienced. Because for years I hated myself. I hated what I saw. And now to realize that I can actually like myself and like what I see staring back at me, that's just like, it just like blows my mind to see how one change in a year has made such a drastic difference in my life. So I know there's a lot of people out there like me. I know there's a lot of women out there like me who struggle with self-confidence and what they think of themselves and whatever. It's so, like, it breaks my heart, but it is so common. It is so common. I guarantee you, every woman you know has struggled with it one way or another, and still probably is. I still am. I'm not going to tell you that it's done, like, in a year, it's undid all the 20 years that I've struggled with it, but it's gotten so much better. I was going to say something else and now I completely forgot. But it's gotten a lot better. I'll have my bad days where, I don't know, maybe I'm feeling bloated. It's always around that time of the month where I'm just like, ugh, this is gross. Like, all I want to do is be in sweatpants and lay on the couch. And then when you do that and you like make excuses to not work out, it's just whatever. So yeah, sometimes I'll have a relapse, but it's not every day. It's not every moment. So I because of the changes I've experienced and because it's World Mental Health Day, I wanted to talk about this openly and authentically with you guys, because I think it's so important. I think talking about mental health and whatever you're struggling with is so important. It's like the first step towards finding a way to heal. That's a big thing. Being vulnerable can lead to so much healing, because when you keep things in, you're keeping things in. They stay here, and nothing gets fixed, nothing gets worked on, nothing gets better. So I wanted to take this time to talk to you about it. And since it's World Mental Health Day, I wanted to talk about the things I've struggled with, because I'm sure you look on my social media and you're like, oh, her life is all rainbows and roses, but really it's not. And I want you to know that, because I don't think, I try to share authentically things that I struggle with. I don't do much during the day, so being home all the time, I don't go through many experiences anymore, but I will talk a lot about my past, and how I've worked through it, how I've healed through it, from it, whatever works. And just, yeah. So that being said, I think it was last week, like I always try to come up with a theme for my accountability groups. The only thing is I always have a hard time coming up with a name or coming up with something that feels right, because this whole coaching thing, it's taken me over a year to try to figure out what's worked for me. Since it's my business, I'm trying to figure out how to run my business my way, and not based off of anyone else's business, not based off of anything else that anyone else is doing, because that's what I was doing in the beginning. So it's taken me a while to get here. But anyway, I am, okay, so originally I was going to start my group for this month, for October, on Monday, but I'm pushing it to next Monday. And the theme is fall in love with yourself, because I want to start getting away from always putting out there like, oh, do you want to lose weight? Do you want to, get toned and whatever? Like, I'm sure everyone does, but you probably also hear that from like the gyms you look into when you're looking for gym membership, other personal trainers you look into if you're looking for that, or you hear that a lot. And I want to be different. And on top of that, that was never my story with fitness. My story with fitness was never about losing weight. Yeah, maybe it was about like toning up and stuff, but I didn't really start lifting weights till only like 2 years ago. So it wasn't even that. Like, my story with fitness is that it saved my life. It literally saved my life, because it gave me a way to escape from whatever I was thinking about myself, from whatever suicidal thoughts I would have, from being brokenhearted about anything. Like, fitness has done so much for me. So anyway, I'm sorry. So this month, the theme is fall in love with yourself. I want to start it next Monday, and I want to find any women out there who are struggling with body image, self-confidence, whatever it is. Like, I want you guys to know I'm here for you. And I have something that I think will help so much, because it completely helped me. And I'm going to keep that same theme in November. So it's going to basically be like October is group A and November is group B. And then in winter, I'll come up with some little fun winter based theme like I did for fall. If you guys want to help me come up with names for that, that would be awesome. Basically revolving around self-love and self-confidence, because that's what I'm fighting for. That's what I'm helping you fight for. So anyway, I have that starting up Monday. anyone wants to come and join me, I have plans, and I have a book that it's the book I started with. It's actually the very first book that my coach gave me. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's amazing. Okay, I'm going to end this because it's already been 25 minutes. And I'm going to go figure out what to do to get my mind off this. But at least it's out there. I'm getting this off my chest. I love you guys. I love every single one of you. Life can suck sometimes. Trust me, I know. So if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how long we've known each other. Doesn't matter if you're a stranger. I'm here. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to go. I love you all. Hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. And I think it's Tuesday, right? Hope you have a great rest of your October 10th, whatever day it is. But yeah, so I will talk to you guys later. All right. Oh, and if, like I said, if you want to experience one of my groups, let me know. I'm going to start the Fall in Love with Yourself one on Monday. We'll go through a whole little like prep and everything. But yeah, so let me know below. You can email me, text me, get in contact with me somehow. But I just wanted to throw that out there in case you're struggling with the same things or similar and you want to find a way out. I got you, girl. Anyway, I love you. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye guys.